Hi, I'm Chris Vavra. I'm the Web Content Manager for CFE Media and Technology. I'm here today live at Honeywell Connect in Dallas to talk with Jason Urso, the VP and Chief Technology Officer of Honeywell. Welcome, Jason.
Yeah, it's great to be here with you.
Thank you. Yeah, we had had a conversation last year talking about process manufacturing, what was happening in the world, and it was very successful. So I'm glad to be able to do this for the second straight year with you. And one thing I wanted to ask is, we talked about a lot about the trends of digital transformation, process manufacturing, what have you. And last year, what do you think has been the biggest change in the last year since we last talked, do you think?
Well, it's as I look back over 40 years of time, it's often the same themes but new technologies that are used to address some of those challenges. So I see customers still working towards applying digital technologies in the interest of improving throughput and yield, getting better asset reliability, improving worker efficiency. But the technologies that can be employed to do so today are increasingly different. So there's uses of artificial intelligence that we hear quite frequently now that can augment traditional control science or thermodynamics that are used in asset reliability and help to enhance the performance. So that's one area. Second area is, well, we've talked a lot about sustainability and how Honeywell can contribute to the sustainability challenges to customers by, one, providing some software that provides a real-time view of what's happening with respect to carbon emissions, and that's an important advancement because traditionally that's done quite manually, and being able to have a real-time view will show here's how well we're performing against our abatement curve. And third, it's OT cybersecurity. So Honeywell's made an acquisition in the space, and being able to deliver a real-time view of your threats, your vulnerabilities, and your asset inventory in the OT environment in a way that isn't obtrusive to the process control system is actually something that's quite important, and we think a novel advancement in state-of-the-art.
Yeah. A lot of these themes, they have been circulating the last couple of years. AI in particular has really cropped up in the last several months, with ChatGPT and whatnot. AI is nothing really new as far as automation is concerned. But what have you noticed any seismic changes in the last several months, given its, I guess, ubiquitous presence in our day-to-day lives?
Yeah, actually, we've used forms of AI, as you mentioned, for a long time in process control within an industrial facility. So the use of advanced control and optimization is a form of supervised learning where you build a model and then you execute that model using more statistical methods, I guess you can say. So where we've thought about and started to employ AI is, how do we advance the existing state-of-the-art and make it better with AI? Where can we do so? So in the control space, we know that the control problem is well understood and can be employed using traditional technologies. But when you build a model, it is based on today's performance of your process and your process equipment. And as each day goes on, your process equipment is degrading, your feed is changing, and so the control problem is changing over time. Being able to adapt to those changes and being able to then sustain your control benefits over longer periods of time, well, that's a good application for AI. You're not going to replace your traditional controls with AI, but you can augment them in a way that gets better performance. I also see great applications in the area of asset reliability. And it seems like a tough problem because you need an immense amount of data in order to make good decisions using AI in that space. But there's new sensor types that are being introduced using acoustics and video that can give you a new perspective on how your equipment is performing. So if something is going wrong with a pump and you hear a grinding sound, there's a bearing problem. Well, traditional methods, looking at vibration or cavitation of the equipment, that gave you one insight. But if you were actually listening, using a human sense and say, I've heard something that didn't used to be there, and that can give you an indication of something actually going wrong. And the third area where we see AI becoming more and more prevalent is related to large language models and generative AI.
Yeah.
And this is oriented around decision support. So if you think about how a human performs their tasks within a plant, they are assimilating information from a variety of sources. I know there's a maintenance procedure going on. I know my yield is off spec over here, and I know I've got these control loops that are not correctly tuned. They put that together, and that drives their action. Well, what if we could use generative AI in order to assimilate all this information from a variety of different sources and make a recommendation? So it's like having the world's best process control and process engineer person sitting next to you, giving you guidance. No different than our cars do today. Your car is telling you, are you approaching a car in front of you too quickly? And if so, it's going to alert you. That makes you a better driver. So these are the areas where we see AI playing a role within our customer sites.
A lot of synthesization, I would say. You know, it's taking all this information and giving, you know, that engineer the best possible tools and the best possible information to make that informed decision. And as you say, augmenting what they already know, what they already have experienced. It's like, you know, giving them that extra level of evaluation as far as, you know, being able to make that kind of decision that's best for them and best for the company.
Exactly. I mean, think of that in our regular lives. If we used to drive a car using maps and a rough approximation of what we thought was the best route from point A to point B. Now we're using Google Maps or Apple Maps, and that gives us insight into the future. That helps us be a better driver. And our car is telling us, don't approach the person in front of you too quickly. Hey, you're trying to change lanes and there's another car there. It's helping you become a better driver, and we see that same type of technology playing a role within the process plant, especially as we've got demographic changes where we've got more people leaving the industry from retirements. We've got a lot of newer people entering the industry. Well, how do we capture that knowledge and assure, regardless of the years of experience, people can perform flawlessly like an elite athlete by using the power of the captured knowledge and a set of recommendations?
And, you know, being able, and AI can help them, you know, predict and be able to make those, ascertain those decisions, you know, and avoiding those potential downtime issues or potential safety issues that are so prevalent, not just in process manufacturing, but, you know, in all manufacturing industries.
Indeed, and that's our intention, and it comes back to the earlier statement that we've been solving the same problems. We want our plants to run safer, more reliably, and more efficient. We've been doing that for 40 or 50 years since the beginning of process automation. But now the technologies that are available help us do that better. It allows us to advance the state of the art and improve from where we had been in the past.
And you mentioned sustainability, and I know, you know, that's been like the big hot buzzword, I guess, in the last year. Like, everybody wants to be sustainable, but what sustainability means to you and what it means to me could be two very different things. But it seems like everybody's on this journey not only because it's good for the environment, but it's also good for the bottom line. And what has Honeywell been doing to really, you know, push that forward?
Yeah, this is a big area of focus for Honeywell, because we provide a full array of remediation solutions that can help reduce carbon emissions. Everything from improving energy efficiency, which directly affects the bottom line. You use less energy to produce the same, you've got a savings, and you both help your P&L as well as promote lower carbon emissions. We also have technologies in place for carbon capture, battery energy storage, if you put renewables in place, hydrogen solutions. So we have a full array of remediation offerings, and we recently introduced some technology that allows us to have a real-time view of what your actual carbon emissions are, moving away from these manual tasks of trying to collect information, put it together in a spreadsheet. So now we have a real-time view. We can track how the performance is against the abatement curve, and we can deliver the remediation offerings for customers. And you know what? You're exactly right about customers also care about the bottom line. We've got to be able to show a benefit, and this is where, whether we're in an industrial plant or a building, we can show, here's how energy efficiency can help improve your performance, improve your P&L, as well as promote lower carbon emissions.
And manufacturers are, you know, dealing with sustainability as an expectation. It's not like it's always a nice to have. Like no. This is what they need and what the customers are demanding of them. Like you've got to be sustainable and you've got to be looking toward the future as far as energy efficiency and energy management is concerned.
Indeed. There's a set of areas of focus, whether it be regulatory in some markets, whether it be investors demanding it, and customers. So we're helping to address our customers' needs with respect to sustainability with the solutions that we've got, and showing how it helps to improve their business. Here's another great example. We have a set of solutions that can detect fugitive emissions at a customer site. Traditionally, you find those by every 6 months, somebody goes out in the production area with a sniffer, and they sniff around at each one of the flanges and seals and try to identify the problem. Well, what if you could put low-cost sensors and canvas an entire site and identify those fugitive emissions when they have? That helps a few different things. One is, well, you don't want fugitive emission. You don't want methane going into the atmosphere. Number two, well, it helps your P&L because you want to keep your product on the inside of your process. So knowing when that's actually leaking is something that is leaking product and leaking dollars for the corporation. And number three, well, it's a safety incident. It's you don't want combustible fuels being exposed in production areas where humans are. So being able to detect this helps to address safety, helps to improve the P&L by keeping the product in the pipeline, and three, improves the overall environment. So you can get a multitude of benefits by putting in place a sustainability program.
And finally, on digital transformation, last year you talked about the digital transformation journey, and there were 5 steps you had mentioned: better control and optimization, asset intelligence, workforce and excellence, creating a remote workforce, and being more resilient. Those are still true today. And I was wondering, in the past year, where have you seen the greatest amount of success? Which step, and where are people still kind of struggling in that journey, do you think?
Yeah, it's different for different customers, and especially across different industries. Their starting points are in a variety of different places. In parts of the world, it can be an emphasis on people because skilled labor is hard to come by. So those customers might look towards solutions that improve workforce efficiency and safety. In other parts of the world, and other companies, well, we have unplanned outages that are occurring, and so how can you employ asset reliability solutions to keep the equipment operating? So there's no one answer. It's people's starting point is in a set of different areas, and generally it comes down to the customer saying, here's my problem. I at my site, my problem is I don't have skilled labor, or I have unplanned outages, or my process control is not running as efficiently as it should. So we work with customers depending on where they are in the journey. And I would say one thing that we've learned in taking people across that maturity model, regardless of their starting point, more and more we're thinking about how do we provide a closed loop solution to address that? Not just providing insights into, well, we think this piece of equipment might be reaching its end of life. We want to understand, why is that, and what to do about it? And so that's where our solutions are more and more evolving to.
You want it to be a repeatable success for them throughout the line, so that it's not just a one-off, that it's something that they can repeat over and over and over again.
Indeed, it's something that's repeatable and something that's built-in standard part of the process, and it's not dependent on a human with specialized expertise.
And I've heard, with digital transformation, like so long as you start taking a step forward on the journey, it doesn't really matter. Like it's that first step that's the most important.
Indeed, you have to get started, and it's work up a plan and say where is the biggest opportunity for your business now, and it could be any one of those topics that you mentioned. But get started, put in place a program and say, let's capture the benefits, and then use the benefits to fund some of the other steps that you might want to take.
And with Honeywell Connect, all these I know are going to be major themes. What is another theme that we didn't really discuss today that people should be aware of that Honeywell is trying to emphasize here at Honeywell Connect?
Yeah, there's really three key things that you'll hear throughout Connect. One is digitalization. We talked about that extensively. Two is sustainability. We talked about that. Number three is OT cybersecurity.
Right.
That is a big theme for customers. It's something on everyone's minds.
Mm-hmm.
How do I protect my OT systems? And how do I do it in a way that isn't obtrusive or interfere with the
Right.
process control mission? And we're introducing some new technology that demonstrates how we can work within the OT networks, protecting the process control equipment, not obstructing it in any way, but giving you a real-time view of your assets, your threats, and your vulnerabilities. And that is a novel technology in the OT space. It's been available in the IT space for some time, but those solutions don't work well when paired together with process control or building management systems.
Right, and as it is with digital transformation and sustainability, this is a daunting first step for many companies, but having that dialogue is going to be critical, particularly as more and more systems become connected to the internet, more touch points, more potential vulnerabilities.
100% right. We are going through this transformation where people are trying to harness the power of data and be able to drive better business performance. But to do that means more connections. You've got more connectivity in OT. You've got more connectivity between OT and IT. In fact, OT networks are becoming as complex as IT networks. They've got hundreds of nodes. They've got switches and PCs and servers and wireless networks. How you protect that is becoming more and more complex, and it demanded a new solution in the industry to address some of those challenges.
And a new way of thinking for many of these engineers.
Indeed, that's right.
Well, thank you very much, Jason. I appreciate you taking the time to speak with me today. And if you enjoyed today's video, you can see more of these at www.controleng.com. We have executive video interview with experts, one-on-ones and trade show interviews. And you can also find more of these on our YouTube channel, Control Eng TV. And I'm Chris Vavra, Web Content Manager, CFE Media and Technology. Thank you for watching.